Hello, Leo, and thank you for tuning in today. It's July 13th, 2025, and this moment marks something important. A quiet yet powerful turning point in your awareness. What you're stepping into now isn't loud or dramatic, but precise. It's as if a fog you didn't even know you were walking through has suddenly lifted. A situation or a person begins to reveal itself more clearly, not through confrontation or chaos, but through patterns that can no longer be ignored. And what you start to see today may challenge how you've previously chosen to show up. Generous, patient, always willing to give someone the benefit of the doubt. But today is different. Today, clarity asks more of you. You may sense envy nearby or realize someone has been quietly taking advantage of your kindness. The message from the universe isn't to harden your heart or go into battle. It's to hold your ground with calm authority. Boundaries don't have to be loud to be powerful. And this isn't about punishment. It's about protection. Protecting your peace, your energy, and the path you've been walking with integrity. Every choice you make today needs to come from a place of self-respect. That's the invitation of this moment, to stand in your truth without apology, and to trust that by doing so, you'll create space for deeper alignment in your relationships and greater strength within yourself. And as the emotional fog clears, so too does your perspective on money and material direction. With the sun now casting its light over your second house of income, Leo, you're being called to reassess not only how you earn, but why you value what you do. This isn't just about chasing more. It's about understanding what kind of prosperity feels stable, aligned, and earned with pride. A new opportunity may be on the horizon, one that feels grounded yet quietly powerful, like soil freshly tilled and ready for planting. This isn't necessarily loud or flashy, but it carries potential for long-term growth. Be it through a new role, a shift in your responsibilities, or even a chance encounter that opens a door you hadn't thought to knock on. Stay open to the practical conversations that arise, especially those that involve collaboration, shared goals, or mentorship. There may be someone in your sphere, a coworker, a friend, a partner, who sees your strength more clearly than you see it yourself, and who wants to bring you in on something worthwhile. What's particularly important now is that you remain discerning. With Venus traveling through Virgo, there's a quiet pressure to be detail-oriented with your finances, to watch the small print, the overlooked corners of your spending habits or obligations. Any new flow of money that enters your life in this season is asking to be managed with intention. It's not enough to receive. You must know how to sustain and grow what's been given. If you've been relying on pure momentum or charisma, it's time to balance that with planning and realism. This cosmic moment favors those who know how to hold both creativity and structure in the same hand. And yet, luck is quietly weaving through your chart too. Jupiter, sitting in a favorable trine to your natal sun, is gently expanding your capacity to receive, but it won't do the work for you. It opens the path. It's still your choice to walk it. These little moments, unexpected messages, small offers, even the shift in how someone speaks to you about your skills may seem minor, but they're nudges from the universe. Follow them. Your lucky numbers today, 7, 19, 30, 42, 54, and 66, are not just digits. They're anchors, symbols of timing and rhythm. Consider them as gentle reminders to pay attention when something catches your eye or aligns with your inner sense of right timing. You're not just being given a chance today, Leo. You're being asked to meet it with maturity, clarity, and the quiet confidence that what you build now will sustain far beyond this moment. And now, Leo, let's talk about your work, your ambition, your direction, the engine that drives so much of your identity. With Mars currently igniting your 10th house of career and public recognition, there is an undeniable push forward in your professional life. You may feel it as restlessness or urgency, a deep instinct that something bigger is calling you. This isn't random. The universe is sharpening your focus, placing you in a position where your natural leadership, your fire, your ability to rally others and inspire action. These qualities are no longer optional, they're required. People are watching how you move right now, not for validation, but because your presence carries weight. And in that awareness, you're being called to lead not with ego, but with clarity and accountability. At the same time, Uranus continues its long transit through Taurus, shaking up your 10th house from underneath. That's why things may feel uncertain or surprising on the career front, like a door opens suddenly or a conversation shifts the entire trajectory of a project. These aren't coincidences. This is the cosmic reorganization of your professional identity. You might be presented with an opportunity that looks nothing like what you expected, and the temptation will be to either jump in blindly or reject it out of discomfort. Neither extreme will serve you. What's being asked of you now is discernment. Ask yourself, does this path support not just your ambition, but your long-term stability, your values, and your evolving purpose? If it does, you'll know the body never lies. If you feel expansion, curiosity, and grounded excitement in your chest, lean in. But if it feels rushed, chaotic, or ego-driven, give yourself space to reflect. Saturn in Pisces is reminding you that discipline and boundaries are just as sacred as inspiration, and don't underestimate the power of community during this time. With Mercury now transiting your 11th house of networks, collaboration becomes your secret weapon. It's not about doing it all alone, Leo. You weren't built for isolation. Seek out those who challenge you intellectually, who have experience in areas you want to grow into, who reflect the version of yourself you're becoming, not the one you've already outgrown. Mentorship, team-based projects, peer-led feedback, these aren't distractions, they're stepping stones. This is how your leadership deepens, not just by standing at the front, but by learning when to listen, when to delegate, and when to trust the process unfolding around you. The skies are not just offering motion, they're asking for mastery. Don't rush to prove yourself. Instead, refine your path. You already have what it takes to succeed. Now you're being asked to channel that drive with intelligence, humility, and strategy. And if you do, recognition is inevitable, not because you demanded it, but because your work will speak for itself. And beneath all the drive, the discipline, and the decision-making that surrounds your outer world, there is the quieter pulse of your heart, beating with questions of connection, tenderness, and truth. Love, Leo, is not just a backdrop right now, it's part of the main story. With the moon moving through your 7th house of partnerships today, emotions around intimacy and shared history rise to the surface. You may find yourself thinking about someone you once loved deeply, someone whose presence shaped a version of you that still lingers. Whether this person is physically near or has long been gone, the energy between you hasn't entirely dissipated. What's surfacing now is not nostalgia for the past, but an opportunity to acknowledge how much both of you have grown in your separate journeys. Meanwhile, Pluto's slow and transformative presence in Aquarius continues to challenge the structure of your most important one-on-one relationships. Power dynamics, past imbalances, and patterns of emotional avoidance are being brought into focus, not to punish, but to clear the debris. If someone reappears in your life now, or if a current partner begins to show signs of emotional maturity they once lacked, it's not random. It's a response to your own evolution. You're no longer available for surface-level promises or hollow charm. What you need now is honesty, raw, consistent, and unafraid of discomfort. And if someone is willing to meet you there, not with perfection, but with genuine effort and vulnerability, then yes, there is room for renewal. Not a rewind to the old story, but the potential for a rewritten chapter, one authored by two people who are no longer hiding behind fear. For those not looking back but forward, Venus in Virgo invites a slower, more intentional approach to love. It's a time for paying attention to the little things: tone, timing, care in conversation. Emotional intimacy now doesn't come from big declarations, but from the ways two people show up in the quiet moments. a shared glance that lingers a second too long, a question that goes deeper than small talk, a silence that feels safe rather than awkward. These are the new foundations being laid for those ready to love with more presence than performance. Regardless of your relationship status, Leo, the cosmos is asking, are you ready to love without losing yourself? To commit without controlling? To open without demanding guarantees? These aren't light questions, but they are necessary ones, because the kind of love entering your orbit now is mature, healing, and potentially life-changing, but only if you've created enough space in your heart for it to land. And while your outer life is undergoing realignment and your heart is waking up to new truths, your body, your first and most honest messenger, is quietly asking for attention. With Venus now illuminating your 6th house of health, daily routines, and physical maintenance, there is a gentle but persistent call to return to your body, with care, consistency, and compassion. This influence, coupled with the archetype of Aphrodite, reminds us that wellness is not about chasing perfection, but about nurturing rhythm. You may have been moving fast recently, perhaps giving your energy away in all directions toward career demands, emotional processing, even spiritual growth. But the cost of that momentum is beginning to show in subtler ways. Disrupted digestion, scattered sleep, a nervous system that doesn't fully settle even when you rest. This is the time to make small adjustments that carry significant long-term benefits. Begin with what you consume, not just in food, but in content, conversation, and emotion. Cut back on what overstimulates, too much caffeine, overly spicy meals, or even social media that leaves you agitated rather than inspired. Choose instead what nourishes slowly and stays with you. Warm, grounding meals, herbal teas, time in fresh air. Gentle physical movement that reconnects you with your breath. Your gut and nervous system are intimately linked, and what you feed one inevitably affects the other. Notice how your body responds when you honor it with simplicity and consistency, and let those signals guide you toward a more supportive rhythm. Emotionally, too, the body is bearing witness to what you carry. Restlessness, tension, fatigue. These aren't weaknesses to push through, but signals that your inner world needs space. Carve out quiet pockets of time for intentional rest, not just sleep, but true stillness. A walk without headphones, a few minutes of deep breathing with no agenda, a journal open to your honest thoughts. You don't need a full reset. You need to return to what is already available to you, if only you slow down enough to notice. This is not a sprint toward vitality, Leo. It's a slow remembering that your body is not separate from your strength. It is the foundation of everything else you wish to create. Listen to it now, and you'll find that your energy doesn't just return, it stabilizes. And as you find your footing in the deeper layers of self-care, you may begin to sense subtle tremors within your closest circles, particularly in the emotional landscape of family, chosen or biological. With Saturn currently casting its gaze across your 4th house, the domain that governs home, ancestry, and emotional security, you are likely to witness a quiet but undeniable shift in someone you've long been connected to. This may be a family member, perhaps older or more vulnerable, going through a profound transformation that is forcing them to confront their own limitations, whether financial, relational, or health. Or it may be someone from your romantic past, resurfacing not for reconciliation, but in the form of emotional echoes that remind you how far you've come. These shifts are not asking you to intervene or fix, but to hold space with discernment. The instinct to help may feel strong, Leo, especially when your heart sees someone struggling. Yet, under Saturn's watchful eye, this is your moment to learn the balance between compassion and codependency. You are not being called to carry someone else's weight, only to acknowledge it without judgment. Offering emotional support does not mean sacrificing your own peace, and part of your soul lesson this season is learning how to love without abandoning yourself in the process. There may be conversations that tug on old guilt, obligations resurfacing from childhood dynamics, or emotional roles you've outgrown, but still feel expected to play. Let this be the time you step back with grace and observe who meets you with mutual respect and emotional maturity. Your inner foundation, built on everything you've learned and healed, is strong enough now to hold your ground even when those around you are wavering. And if someone you once shared history with is now navigating the reckoning, trust that the universe is doing its work on them too. You don't need to be their savior. Your presence, your listening, and your boundaries are more than enough. In terms of alignment and connection, the stars point you toward those who can offer grounding, mental stimulation, or fire to match your own. Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus bring the earth element you now crave: reliability, practicality, and quiet strength that helps steady your more expansive, expressive nature. They remind you of structure without suffocation, and their presence in your life can help you refine your long-term visions into reality. Gemini and Libra, the air signs, invite you into thoughtful dialogue, mutual curiosity, and a space where ideas become bridges. These are the ones who will challenge your thinking without attacking your spirit, and with whom conversations will feel like fuel. And Aries, your fellow fire sign, is a mirror of your drive, intensity, and courage. Collaborations or unions with Aries can feel electric, urgent, and alive, and while not always easy, they often serve as catalysts for bold new directions. And through all of this, love, work, family, and inner recalibration, gold remains your color. Not the kind worn for decoration, but the gold that exists within you, forged through resilience, radiant confidence, and an unapologetic embrace of your worth. It's the color of self-leadership, of inner light that doesn't ask for permission to shine. Wear it, carry it, envision it wrapping around your choices today. Let it remind you that no matter how chaotic or uncertain things appear on the surface, you are already aligned with something much deeper and steadier. This is not a day to shrink. It is a day to walk with the full weight of who you are, and to trust that everything unfolding is leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Leo, today is not a day to seek answers from the outside. Today is about pausing, taking a deep breath, and listening to what's moving within you, with honesty, without defense, without trying to polish the truth. Whether it's work, love, finances, or shifts within your family, every part of your life is offering you an invitation to step into a version of yourself that is more grounded, more discerning, and more self-led than ever before. You don't need to rush to respond, and you don't need to prove anything to anyone. All that's asked of you is awareness, self-respect, and steady steps. This is a day to stand in your own light, not because someone else handed you the spotlight, but because you know exactly what you've walked through to get here. Trust that every shift, whether soft or sudden, is part of a greater design, pulling you back into alignment with your core. You are not the same Leo you once were. You are wiser now, more awake, more anchored. If today's message resonated with you, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and come back tomorrow. Your journey is far from over. There is so much more ahead, and until we meet again, keep living as you were born to, radiant, proud, and deeply in tune with your worth.